All right, let's dive into something everyone's thinking about these days. Self-improvement. We've got articles here about a bunch of those popular self-help books. You know the ones?
Oh, absolutely. Those bookshelves are overflowing.
It feels like everyone and their dog has advice on how to live your best life, right?
Right.
But who actually has time to read all those books?
Definitely not me.
So we've done some of the heavy lifting for you. We've got Ikigai, Atomic Habits,
Mm-hmm.
The Alchemist, The Works. And what's interesting is how different they all seem. Talk about variety.
Yeah, it really shows how, I don't know, universal the desire to grow and learn is, right?
Totally. Like
Yeah.
deep down, we all want to be better, do better.
Hmm.
And speaking of journeys, one of these articles is about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, this like super famous book about a shepherd searching for his personal legend. What's that all about?
So, personal legend, in Coelho's words, is basically like your big purpose, the reason you're here, your own unique thing.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And he says, everyone's got one. And get this, the universe will like conspire to help you make it happen if you just listen to your gut.
Wow, talk about a vote of confidence. So it's about trusting your intuition, going for those big dreams, even if they seem impossible.
Exactly. And you know what else plays into that? This whole ikigai thing?
Oh yeah, that was in another one of these articles, right? It's a Japanese concept, something about finding your reason for being, like why you get out of bed in the morning.
That's it. Imagine waking up every day and you're stoked because what you do totally aligns with your values, passions, and what the world needs.
Sign me up. But how do we actually find this ikigai? Is there a map?
Well, it's more like a process of self-discovery. It's about uncovering what makes you come alive, the stuff that brings you joy, a sense of purpose. The book talks about this sweet spot where your passions, skills, what the world needs, and even what you can be paid for all come together. It's less of a formula and more about deeply understanding yourself and then, actually living that truth.
So, doing what you love and loving what you do. Sounds like a recipe for a pretty fulfilling life. But let's be real, sometimes getting through the day is a win, you know. And speaking of winning, this article here highlights Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, a total classic. But is it just positive thinking, or is there more to it?
It's deeper than that. It gets into how powerful belief is in shaping our world. Picture an athlete visualizing a win or a musician channeling that unshakable confidence during a performance. That belief fuels their actions and, in a way, can influence the outcome.
So it's not ignoring problems, but cultivating a belief in yourself, even when things are tough.
Exactly. Our thoughts are crazy powerful. They can hold us back with doubts or push us forward with confidence. Hill argues that if you really believe you can do something, you're way more likely to put in the work to make it happen.
Okay, that makes sense. Mindset is huge, right? But even with the best mindset, we still need practical ways to make changes stick. That's where Atomic Habits by James Clear comes in. It's supposed to be amazing for building good habits, but what makes it so special?
Atomic Habits breaks down how habits work and shows that even tiny changes can create this ripple effect in your life. Think about it. Trying to change everything at once versus making one small change, like drinking more water every day or taking a short walk. Those little things might not seem like much at first, but over time, they add up to big results.
It's like that saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's the consistency, not the grand gestures, right?
Right. And you know what else goes hand in hand with that? Taking action.
Okay, but how do we bridge that gap between intention and actually doing the thing?
That's where Tony Robbins and his book, Awaken the Giant Within, comes in.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. It's pretty intense, right? What's the main message?
Robbins is all about breaking through those limiting beliefs and taking massive action. He believes we've all got this untapped potential, this giant waiting to be unleashed, but it's on us to make it happen.
So less thinking about it, more doing it.
Basically, he's got all these tools and strategies for identifying and busting through those internal roadblocks that keep us from really living our best lives.
I'm already feeling fired up. But before I get ahead of myself, anything else we need to add to this self-improvement arsenal?
Well, with all this action and striving, we can't forget about inner peace, finding that sense of being present. That's where Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now comes in.
Ah, mindfulness. Everyone's talking about it these days. What's Tolle's take on living in the moment, and why is it important, especially with self-improvement?
He says a lot of our suffering comes from dwelling on the past or stressing about the future. The power of now is about silencing those racing thoughts and just being present right here, right now. Think about it. When you're stuck in regrets or anxieties, you're missing out on what's actually happening.
It's true. It's like we're so busy worrying about things we can't control that we miss the beauty of what's right in front of us.
Exactly. And the power of now gives you practical ways to cultivate that sense of presence, awareness, and peace.
Okay, so we've got purpose, mindset, habits, action, and mindfulness. That feels like a pretty solid foundation for leveling up our lives, wouldn't you say?
Totally. But hold on, we've got a few more books to unpack. We'll be back with more insights right after this.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground purpose, mindset, habits, action, mindfulness. It's a lot.
It's like a self-improvement buffet out here.
Right. But what about when we hit that wall, when we need an extra push to stay motivated? There's this book, Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a total classic. But I'll be honest, I haven't read it.
Oh, it's a classic for a reason. Covey's not just talking about getting things done. He's talking about living a life based on principles, aligned with your values, and creating solutions where everyone wins.
Everyone wins. Tell me more about that.
So one of his big things is this shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. It's like instead of approaching challenges like it's a zero-sum game where someone has to lose, you look for solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Makes sense. In work and life. Building strong relationships, working together, not against each other.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that?
Covey's big on being proactive, taking responsibility for your own life and choices, focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, reactions, instead of getting bogged down by the stuff you can't.
So focus on what you can change, let go of what you can't.
I like it. Exactly. And it's not just about being proactive in your own life. It's also about understanding where other people are coming from, really listening. Remember those win-win solutions? Well, when you get where someone else is coming from, finding that common ground is way easier.
True, but really listening, truly understanding someone else's perspective, that's a skill in itself, and not always easy.
Totally. It takes practice, conscious effort, but the payoff is huge.
Okay, so we've got being proactive, empathetic, finding those win-win solutions. Is that the gist of the 7 habits?
Those are key, but Covey also gets into things like using your time and energy wisely, trying to understand others before expecting them to understand you, and always looking for ways to grow and improve. He calls it sharpening the saw.
Sharpening the saw. I like that. It's a reminder that self-improvement's a journey, not a destination. It's continuous, right?
Exactly. And that brings us to Grit by Angela Duckworth. This book digs into the whole passion and perseverance thing, how important they are for reaching those big long-term goals.
Grit sounds intense.
Yeah.
I definitely could have used more of that at times. What's Duckworth's take on grit, and how does it play into success?
Duckworth's research says talent alone isn't enough. It's the combination of passion, that deep love for what you do, and perseverance, that stubborn refusal to give up even when things get tough. Those are the things that set apart the people who really make it. Think about athletes who train for years, push through injuries just to get to the Olympics, or entrepreneurs who keep going after countless rejections before their vision takes off.
So it's about having that fire, but also the stamina to keep going when things get rough.
Exactly. Duckworth says grit is a better predictor of success than intelligence, talent, even luck.
Wow, that's both inspiring and kind of scary. What if you weren't exactly born with a ton of grit? Can you build that up?
Here's the good news. Grit's not necessarily something you're born with. It's something you can develop, strengthen over time, like a muscle. The more you challenge yourself, push through those uncomfortable moments, the more resilient you become.
So it's about seeing those tough times as chances to grow, those moments when you want to quit, but you push through anyway.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean being superhuman, never doubting yourself. It's about developing that voice inside that says, I can do this, even when things are hard.
Love it. Building those grit muscles by facing challenges head on. But before we get too caught up in all this action and perseverance talk, let's talk about self-care. There's an article here about Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And it seems to come at things from a different angle, focusing on the whole mind-body connection.
Yes. Louise Hay's work is all about how powerful our thoughts and beliefs are, not just for our mental and emotional well-being, but our physical health, too.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more about this mind-body connection.
Hay says negative thoughts and beliefs can actually show up as physical problems in our bodies. Like if you're always putting yourself down or holding on to anger, it creates stress, tension, and that affects you physically.
So our bodies are like mirrors reflecting back what's going on in our minds.
Exactly. But the good news is, she also says that by focusing on positive thoughts, practicing self-love, and letting go of limiting beliefs, we can tap into our body's natural ability to heal.
That's powerful. It makes you realize how important it is to be aware of how we talk to ourselves and to challenge those negative thought patterns that could be holding us back, both mentally and physically.
Exactly. You Can Heal Your Life is full of practical tools and techniques to help you shift those negative patterns. Affirmations, visualizations, forgiveness practices, and really cultivating self-love.
It sounds like this book encourages a more holistic approach to self-improvement, recognizing that our minds and bodies are connected and work together.
Exactly. And that's a perspective people often miss in the self-improvement world. We can get so fixated on goals and behaviors that we forget about the underlying thoughts and beliefs driving those patterns in the first place.
Makes sense. You can't change your life without addressing the root of the problem and looking at well-being as a whole. This deep dive has been eye-opening. I'm feeling inspired to prioritize self-care, challenge my limiting beliefs, and cultivate a more positive inner dialogue. But with so many amazing books and ideas, where do we even start?
Great question. It can feel overwhelming trying to tackle all these areas of self-improvement at once.
It's like being at a buffet and wanting to try everything but knowing you'll explode if you do.
I like that analogy. And just like with a buffet, the key is to pace yourself. Don't overload your plate. Instead of trying to change everything overnight, pick one or two areas that really speak to you right now.
So honor your own pace and what feels right for you instead of following some strict formula.
You got it. Self-improvement isn't one size fits all. What works for one person might not work for another. It's about experimenting, being curious.
That takes the pressure off. I tend to go all in, then get discouraged if I don't see results immediately.
That's common, but remember, real change takes time and effort. It's about progress, not perfection. Celebrate those small victories along the way.
So be kind to ourselves. Trust the process.
Absolutely. Self-compassion is essential on this self-improvement journey. We're all works in progress, always learning, growing, changing.
I love that perspective. It takes the pressure off and lets us enjoy the journey instead of judging ourselves.
Exactly. See challenges as opportunities to grow. Setbacks as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools for self-improvement, but even more importantly, a whole new way of looking at it.
And how's your perspective shifted?
I'm realizing that self-improvement isn't about trying to be someone else or chasing some external idea of success or happiness. It's about connecting with our own inner wisdom, our values, and creating a life that feels real and true to us.
Beautifully put. And that's a lifelong journey. Always something new to learn, some part of ourselves to explore further.
So it's not about the destination, but the journey of growth and change.
Exactly. Cultivate a mindset of continuous learning, curiosity, and self-compassion.
I love that. This deep dive has been a breath of fresh air, a reminder that self-improvement can be about nurturing and unfolding, not just striving and pushing.
And that's what these books ultimately encourage us to do, embrace our own unique journeys of becoming with all their imperfections and complexities.
Speaking of embracing our complexities,
Yeah.
we've been talking about positive thinking, good habits, taking action. But what about those times when we're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just plain blah? What do these books say about those messier parts of personal growth?
Such a good point. Self-improvement isn't always pretty. It's about navigating those bumps in the road and finding ways to get through challenges gracefully and with resilience.
So, spill the tea. What's the secret?
Well, each book has its own angle, but there are common threads, like remember how the power of now is all about staying present. That can be super helpful when you're drowning in negative thoughts and feelings.
Right. Focus on what you can control right now. Don't get swept away by worries about the past or future.
Yes. And remember, atomic habits and breaking down big goals into smaller steps, that's a game changer when you're feeling overwhelmed or unmotivated.
Small steps are way less intimidating than trying to tackle a huge goal all at once.
Exactly. And let's not forget self-compassion. When you face challenges or setbacks, it's easy to beat yourself up. But we're all human, we all make mistakes. The key is to learn from them and be kind to yourself, just like you would be to a friend.
So true. We're often way harder on ourselves than we'd ever be on anyone else.
It's human nature, but we can work on it. Self-compassion is a muscle you can strengthen. Approaching challenges with kindness and understanding instead of judgment makes a world of difference.
I already feel more ready to handle life's ups and downs. But what about those super deep-rooted limiting beliefs? The ones that keep us playing small, holding back from what we really want. How do we deal with those?
Those are tricky. They work behind the scenes, influencing our thoughts, feelings, actions in these subtle but powerful ways.
So how do you even start to identify and challenge them?
Self-awareness is key. Pay attention to those negative thoughts that keep popping up, those self-sabotaging habits, those times when fear or doubt stop you from taking a chance or going after a dream.
So be more aware of our inner monologue. Notice when our own thoughts are holding us back.
Yes, and once you've spotted those limiting beliefs, you can start to question them. Are they even true? Or are they just stories you've been telling yourself, maybe from past experiences or things other people have said?
Wow, that's a good point. We often believe these negative things without thinking about where they came from or if they're even true.
Exactly. And that's where books like You Can Heal Your Life and Awaken the Giant Within can be so helpful. They give you practical ways to challenge those limiting beliefs, reframe negative thoughts, and cultivate a more empowering inner dialogue.
It's like we're giving our inner critic a makeover, replacing those old negative scripts with new empowering ones.
Love that analogy. It's about consciously choosing thoughts and beliefs that help you live your best life.
This is making me realize how much power we have.
Yeah.
We can't control everything that happens, but we can control how we react, how we see things, and how we let those experiences shape us.
You got it. Thoughts and beliefs are incredibly powerful. They shape our perceptions, our emotions, and our actions.
This makes me want to take a good hard look at my own beliefs and see where I might be holding myself back.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, I'm a little overwhelmed. This is deep stuff.
It is a lot to process. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's deep work and it's a journey. Take it one step at a time.
So, no need to rush or figure it all out at once.
Nope. Be kind to yourself. Take your time. The most important step is the one you're taking right now towards self-awareness, growth, and fulfillment.
That's good to hear. I tend to get ahead of myself like I'm in a race or something.
Wow.
But the journey is where the real growth happens, right?
Absolutely. Enjoy the process, the ups and downs, and celebrate every step you take toward becoming your best self.
You know, it's amazing how easy it is to get caught up in the daily grind and forget about the bigger picture.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like, what's it all about? Purpose, meaning all that.
It's true. Life has a way of sweeping you up in the day-to-day.
Exactly. And then these books come along and it's like this refreshing pause, a reminder to reconnect with what actually matters.
They really do offer that nudge to realign with your values, those things you truly care about.
And it's not about beating ourselves up for veering off track.
No, not at all.
We all have those moments of feeling stuck, unmotivated. It's part of being human.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Part of the journey.
And that's where those common threads come in, like you were saying, staying present, breaking down those goals, and being kind to ourselves.
Exactly. Those tools can be so helpful for navigating those inevitable ups and downs.
They really can be game changers. But I'm curious, we've talked about the power of now in those moments of overwhelm, but what about the rest of the time? How do we tap into that present moment awareness, even when things aren't chaotic?
That's where practice comes in. It's about cultivating this ongoing awareness of the now, noticing what's around you, the sights, sounds, sensations, even in ordinary moments.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like really savoring your morning coffee, tasting each sip, or feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin during a quick break. It's about bringing that mindful awareness to the smallest of moments.
So it's like shifting from autopilot to being more present and engaged in life.
Exactly. That's the idea.
I love that. And it makes sense that the more we practice that presence, the easier it becomes to access it during challenging times.
Precisely. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Makes sense. And speaking of challenges, let's go back to those deep-seated limiting beliefs we were talking about earlier. They can feel so heavy, so impossible to overcome. What advice do these self-help gurus have for breaking free from those self-imposed limitations?
It all starts with awareness. Bringing those beliefs that are holding you back into the light of day.
Okay, so shine a spotlight on them, then what?
Well, often these beliefs, they stem from past experiences or messages we've internalized from others. Imagine a young child constantly being told they're not good enough or not smart enough. Those messages, if they go unchecked, can become these deep-seated beliefs that color how we see ourselves and the world.
It's like we're carrying around these invisible scripts that tell us who we are and what we're capable of.
Exactly. And the good news is we have the power to rewrite those scripts. Books like You Can Heal Your Life and Awaken the Giant Within offer practical tools for challenging those old beliefs and replacing them with ones that serve us better.
So it's not about pretending those negative thoughts don't exist, but about questioning whether they're even true and choosing to believe something different, something that supports our growth and well-being.
You got it. And remember, it's a process. It takes time and effort to rewire those old thought patterns.
Of course, we've been running those old programs for a long time.
Okay.
It's bound to take some effort to upgrade our internal operating systems, right?
I love that analogy. And just like with those software updates, sometimes we need to revisit those limiting beliefs multiple times before they're fully integrated.
It's a journey, not a quick fix.
Exactly. It's about being patient with ourselves and trusting the process.
And remembering that just like any worthwhile journey, there will be detours and unexpected turns along the way. But having these tools and insights, it's like we're better equipped to navigate those challenges.
Absolutely. And maybe most importantly, you're not alone. There are countless resources, books, podcasts, communities filled with people who are on a similar path of self-discovery and growth.
It's true. Sometimes the greatest support comes from simply connecting with others who get it, sharing our experiences, offering encouragement, and reminding each other that we're all in this together.
Absolutely. We're all a work in progress, always learning, growing, and evolving. And when we can approach this journey with a spirit of curiosity, compassion, and a willingness to learn from our stumbles, it becomes so much more enriching.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening and inspiring. I feel like I have a renewed sense of direction, but even more importantly, a deeper understanding of myself and my own capacity for growth.
That's wonderful to hear. And as we wrap up our deep dive, is there one small step you're inspired to take today to integrate some of these insights into your own life?
You know, I think I'm going to start by incorporating some of those mindfulness practices we talked about, really being present with my morning coffee, paying attention to my breath, finding those little pockets of stillness throughout the day to connect with the present moment.
That sounds like a wonderful starting point. Remember, small changes consistently applied can lead to remarkable transformations.
Here's to small steps and big transformations.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation, so insightful and inspiring. And to everyone listening, we hope you've gleaned some valuable takeaways from these incredible books and ideas. Remember, growth is a journey, not a destination, and it's yours to create.
Beautifully said. Keep exploring, keep growing, keep embracing the beautiful journey of becoming.